Hello and welcome to another call in the art of self-healing. It's our final call in the program. I'm your host, Dr. JANEY, and today I look forward to bringing you the final piece and perhaps the most important piece to complete the picture in learning how to tap into your remarkable capacity for self-healing. This capacity that you were born with, that we've all been born with. Now, it's hard to believe that we've already arrived at the last day of this 5-week program, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed sharing it with you. I trust that it's opened your eyes to a whole new way of looking at health, and one that reminds you of just how extraordinary you are. I trust that you'll be leaving this journey feeling empowered and feeling less reliant on the industries outside of you and the pharmaceuticals that so many millions are reliant on, and yet which never offer true and vibrant health. And they can't, that by simply focusing on addressing the symptoms. Now, we've mentioned throughout that it's always crucial to address the cause, whether in preventing disease or in overcoming it. And we've said that there are 4 main components of these causes, and we've talked at length about the many physical causes, ranging from diet, living in sync with our circadian rhythm, the important influence of sunshine on our health, the ubiquitous toxins and endocrine disruptors in our world, and so on. Today, we discuss the importance of spiritual health on our overall health. And I am very excited because I have a surprise for you. Today, I'm going to be handing over to my very good friend and colleague, John Homewood. And now John has devoted much of his life to this subject. John does talks and workshops on the power of presence in attaining true health of the mind, body and soul. And I've attended several of John's workshops, and I can personally attest to the fact that this is a crucial aspect of our overall health, not just of our physical body, but in living our lives with acceptance in a place of joy and living with serenity of mind. And so with that said, let me open the call to John. Welcome, John.
Hello to you and hello to all the participants.
Hi, John. Well, thank you for sharing us today. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. And, as I said in the introduction, I believe that what you share and as a crucial part of overall health really cannot be overstated. And so I'm just going to hand over the floor to you, and if you could share with the listeners your insights and your wisdom around this crucial aspect of achieving whole health and true and long-lasting health. With that said, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jenny. Yes, so today we're going to be talking about the aspect of spiritual in the healing process. And I'd like to say, first of all, let's have a look at what spiritual means. The words mean different things to different people. But the way that I interpret the word spiritual, the way that I use the word spiritual, means conscious, means awake, means aware. I know for a lot of people they link the word spiritual to religious, but I'd like to make a separation between the two. The word religion means to bind to a particular belief pattern or thought pattern. The word spiritual almost means the opposite. It means to break out of any belief pattern, to break out of the mind, to become more conscious, more aware. And then the other word which we're looking at today is the word healing, the word to heal. And what does that mean? And for a lot of people, the word healing means to make the body well, to eliminate pain and suffering. And yes, that is part of the healing journey, but the word actually means to make whole again. And so this journey that we're on, and as you say, this is the most vital step to healing, is to become more conscious, more aware of our wholeness instead of our separationness. Now, the body is part of the story. It's part of the universe, it's part of the world. But consciousness is the container which contains everything. So the body appears in consciousness. And as we awaken our consciousness, as we become more aware of our own essence, then we automatically heal the world, heal our body, which is within the world. Because we know that from a scientific perspective, that the body is made up of energy. And that energy, I'd say, is actually mind energy. And you've probably talked a bit about this already, the importance of mind energy. Now, awareness is pure consciousness that's unconditioned, that contains mind, but that isn't mind. So awareness is actually like the basket that holds everything. It holds mind, it holds body, it holds the emotion, it holds the whole story of our lives. But it's not that. It's something more vast than that, more eternal than the eternal body and the eternal mind. So given that context, that spiritual means awake and healing means to make whole again, I'd like to look at the role of spiritual in healing. You know, we have 7 different intelligences which we know about, and the one that the world worships the most at the moment, particularly the Western world, is the IQ. And that is really dominated by the linear processing of information in time, and it's based in the left hemisphere of the brain. And it's an extremely limited way of perceiving reality, very, very limited indeed. But the 2 highest emotions that the two highest intelligence that we have to work with is EQ and then SQ. And EQ is very much dominated by the emotional intelligence, which is really, really important. And then above that, we move to SQ, spiritual intelligence. And Stephen Covey, a man who's made a great contribution to mankind, I believe, he says that EQ and SQ are the most important intelligences, for they are the guiding intelligences to all of the rest. And in medical science, we have tended to worship IQ. And in fact, most doctors have very, very high IQ. But in fact, is the emotional intelligence and the spiritual intelligence, which should actually guide that whole industry. And it doesn't. In fact, the industry has pretty much excluded spiritual intelligence from its domain, which is understandable because it's based in the left brain. So let's look at the spiritual dimension. And the first question we have to ask ourselves is, who are we? Now, the logical mind will come up and look at the objects of our identity. It will look up and look at us as our body. It'll perceive what we see in the mirror. And then it'll know itself by what other people tell us about ourselves as they reflect who we are. And then it'll also look at our history, our journey. It'll look at our experiences along our journey and all that we've experienced. It'll look at our relationships, for example. They define us. It'll look at the roles that we play in life, the role of maybe daughter or mother or father or teacher or managing director of big corporation, and that'll all define us from the mind's point of view. But the question I'm asking is, who are we eternally? And it's not something esoteric, this. It's what looks through your eyes, what has always looked through your eyes. Now, when you were, say, 5 or 6 years old, you had a completely different body to the one that you have on today. And at the age of 6, you had a different body. And we know that possibly about every 8 months, almost every single cell in our body is replaced. They all die off and they're renewed. So the age of 6, you have a completely different body to the one that you have at 5. But there's something that's still there, the same. You might say, well, it's the mind. No, well, the mind has changed a lot in a year from 5 to 6. Your beliefs change, your experiences change. And then you get to the age of 10 or the age of 20 or the age of 30. And again, everything's changed. You've definitely changed your mind. You've got now an educated mind, possibly. You've got certain roles that are very different to the ones that you had when you were 5 or 6. And your body is absolutely, completely different to the one that you had at the age of 5 or 6. And yet something is exactly the same. And that is who you are. That is what's looking through your eyes, and that is pure awareness. Now, the awareness is filtered through the mind, through the education, through the experiences. All of that colors you, even your gender, your race, where you're born, your social group, that all colors how you see the world. But the fact that you can see, that is the unconditioned consciousness. And you are, at your core, unconditioned awareness. You're aware of this meeting that's taking place right now. The mind will have certain expectations about the meeting, certain preferences about the meeting, and will look at it from where you currently stand, whether your body is healthy or not healthy. That will all determine what you're hearing today. But the fact that you can hear is the important part. You are the awareness that listens. You're the awareness that sees. You're the awareness that experiences your whole life. And that awareness never changes. It doesn't get bigger. It doesn't get smaller. And that awareness, the unconditioned awareness, the unconditioned consciousness, which is our true beingness, is pure energy. And there's something I learned about energy at school, and that is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Energy merely changes form. So you are that which is occupying the current form that is taking place, which is your personality, it's your body, it's your roles, etc. that you're playing. But the energy is not that. It's just conditioned in a certain state for a certain while, and all of that will come and go. Your body will come and go, your relationships come and go, even your mind comes and goes. But the awareness, which is what you are, is pure energy, and as such never comes and never goes. That is pure unconditioned presence. That's another word for it. This energy that I'm talking about, because it's not an object, it's very difficult to understand. It's very difficult to define in language, because language is very good at defining objects, but not very good at defining or even pointing us towards that which really can't be spoken of, which is the infinite. It's a space which holds everything. But the word presence, the word life, the word love, the word spirit, these are the words that lead us towards a greater understanding of what it is that's looking through your eyes right now. You are life. You don't have a life. Life occupies your body. You are that life that's occupying the body. And the purest form of that life is what we would call love. Now, love isn't something to be understood with your rational mind. It's not something that you can do a PhD on and hope to experience. Love is the true essence, the sense of oneness in your awareness. On the other hand, we have another word which is almost the opposite of love, and that's the word fear. Fear is really the sense of separation, the sense of vulnerability. Now, love is a sense of connection, and in that is the awareness that you are infinite, that you cannot be threatened, that nothing can ever be taken away from you that's real, and that is the life that you are. And our journey into healing, our journey into making whole again, is to recognize the difference between the object reality of who you think you are in the world of form and the formless reality of who and what you really are. And the spiritual awakening is to realize that you are the eternal. You are not the body. You're not your gender. You're not your achievements. You're not what you have, and you're not what other people think of you. You are something more magnificent than all of that. And as you spiritually awaken to this real identity of yours, of this eternal essence of presence that looks through your eyes today, it's not something, by the way, that you're going to acquire in the future. It's something you are in its fullness right now, today. As you become more aware of that, so you invest more of your attention on that, and then the other world ceases to be so important anymore. The world of the physical world, the world of achievement, the world of past and the world of future ceases to have that immense hold over your awareness. The other question which we're going to be looking at today is the question of what is it you really want? And this is a question which I address on all the workshops that I do, because it's really fundamental. People don't stop long enough to look at what it is that they really want. And I'm going to put an extra 2 reallys in there. I'm going to say, what is it you really, really, really want? Now, the first really may be a healthy body. The second one may be a healthy relationship. But I'm going to say to you, why do you want a healthy body? Why would you want a healthy relationship, for example? And you have to think about that for a moment. You say, well, when I have the healthy body, or when I have the healthy relationship, or when I have the healthy bank account, when I've got all of that, then I will have a certain feeling. And I say, well, what is that feeling? And if you ponder that for a moment and you're really, really honest about it, you'll find that what you really, really, really want is peace. And you're hoping that by having a healthy body, or by having a healthy bank account, or by having a healthy relationship, that will give you peace. Now, I want to assure you there are many people with healthy bodies, with healthy relationships and healthy bank accounts that are not at peace. So no, those things don't automatically bring you peace. And I'm going to suggest that on the journey of becoming spiritually healthy, one needs to make what you really, really, really want your ultimate focus. And I would suggest that if you focus on peace, make that your primary goal every day as you get up, then that will become more and more of your experience on a day-to-day basis. Because we know in the universe that whatever you put your attention on, whatever you focus conscious energy onto, that will expand in your awareness. I mean, a silly example is if you're in the market for a new car, a particular make and model, you'll start to see that everywhere. You'll start to see adverts for it, etc., etc. The same way as if you've just had a new child or maybe a grandchild, then suddenly babies will become important to you. You'll notice push chairs and prams and baby clothes and baby ads and things like that because you put your attention in that particular arena. And I'm going to suggest that if you put your awareness on the object world, on the world of form, the world of body and relationship and careers and fitting into society, then that will occupy your whole awareness. And you'll only know yourself through the world of objects. But as you start to separate, as you start to delaminate your awareness from the world of object to the world of formless, to the world of presence, to the world of peace, that will slowly occupy more and more of your awareness. And as you do that, so the whole world changes, because we know that consciousness creates the physical world, not the other way around. Your brain doesn't create consciousness. Your brain is like the receiver and transmitter of consciousness, but it's consciousness itself that creates the physical form. And as you start to focus rather on this eternal essence of yourself, this what I call pure presence, which is peace, as you start to make peace your focus, paradoxically, the physical world starts to alter in a very real, material way to be in alignment with your new state of consciousness. And that is what spiritual awakening is all about, and that is what healing is all about. The reason every single one of us comes to planet Earth in the beginning is not necessary to achieve anything. It's not to acquire anything. It is actually to heal. And that means to come back to your true essence, to come back to wholeness. And wholeness is pure, unconditioned consciousness. And there are certain practical steps we can start taking in our lives to make it more real for us. Jenny, do you have any questions to ask me so far?
Not at this point, John. I'm loving it. I'm sure everybody is. So no, please just keep going.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's first of all look at what are the advantages to this spiritual way of being in the world, to this conscious way of being in the world. If we look at what plagues most people in the world, it can be boiled down to a few words. It's really pain, suffering, fear, anxiety, and I'm sure there's a few more words we can add to that. But fear and anxiety are probably two of the biggest no-nos that we do not want in our lives. And one of the advantages, the main advantage of becoming more awake, more spiritual, more aware, more centered in presence in your life journey is that fear, worry, anxiety cease to exist. Now, I'm not speaking from an academic point of view. I'm not speaking from something I've read in a book. This is my experience on my journey, because the first part of my life was very much driven by fear, by anxiety, and by worry. Worry about not being good enough, not being able to meet my and my family's needs, for example. And that's all laced by this energy which we define as fear. And fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real, because I used to believe that I was this finite body, that I was my achievements, and that everything, if it was to be, it was up to me. And that was one way of living my life, and ultimately that manifested, that dysfunction in my awareness manifested in the physical body as an incurable disease. And that disease, in my case, was a disease of resistance, because I was always resisting life. I had a big fight with life. And that, the name for that particular dis-ease that I manifested as a result of my resisting life is given the name arthritis in my case. And so this was a gradual process that happened in my body, where my body became more and more rigid, more and more painful. It was extremely difficult to turn my head from the left to the right, to bend my hands, to actually pick up a pen and write, and to even get out of bed in the morning. In fact, the whole process of sleeping became a nightmare, because it was just incredibly painful. If I had to move my neck in the night, it was like rigid and solid, and the pain to move was extreme. The pain down my spine to actually bend and move was phenomenal, to the point where some days to even get out of bed in the morning was a major mission. I had to work out a way of levering myself up into my elbows and using burglar bars next to the bed to pull myself into an upright position. Now, arthritis is an incurable disease. We know that, and the doctors readily assured me that this was a chronic condition and I would have to take chronic medication. And what they wanted to do at one stage was fuse my spine to relieve the pain. And when they mentioned operating on my back, I said, no. I've gone down far enough on this path. There's got to be a better way. And that really woke me up. I came off all medication, and the pain that resulted as that, because you have to feel to heal, and I fully felt the pain, motivated me to start looking at alternative ways of dealing with this incurable disease, because I started to realize that what incurable means is curable from within. So I started to look at changing the internal environment that had created that. And yes, my body was extremely acidic. My diet was wrong. So I started learning about diet, and back then, I'm talking 20 years ago, the information wasn't readily available as we have today. The internet wasn't accessible like it is today. And it took me many trial and errors to finally figure out a diet that works for me, that is alkalizing for me. I also had to change aspects of my life that I was resisting, and the one big aspect in my life was a dysfunctional relationship, a marriage of 26 years, which I had made holier than my health. In other words, I had made myself subservient to that relationship, thinking the relationship was more important than me. And that built up resistance inside me. And I had the belief that marriage was forever, because I've made that vow. And giving up that belief was one of the hardest things I've ever done, and I had to ultimately leave that relationship, and it took me many years to do that, to release that. I had to change my career. The career I was in wasn't authentically me. It was trying to be something. I needed to do that in order to earn money. And I gave up that idea. In fact, I created an understanding for myself, a new belief for myself back then, that I do what I love, and it's God's duty to pay the bills. And that arrangement seems to work. On a day-to-day basis, I always have enough money to pay my bills, and I definitely do what I love today. Back in that time, it was actually in the year 1999 when I started to make this massive change in my life. I created a new thought pattern for myself, and by the way of, or the means of, an affirmation. And the affirmation that I put up on my computer screen as a 3D text screensaver was, "Life is great." Now, up to then, I did not believe that to be true. Life was not great. In fact, life was pretty shit. Every aspect of my life wasn't working. I had 4 businesses which were all making huge losses. They were all going down the tube. I was in the process of losing my house. My family was in a state of flux, and the relationship wasn't working. So no aspect of my life was great, but I chose that as a mental tool to change how I saw reality. And that affirmation I started practicing day by day by day, saying it not once, not twice, but 100 times a day. And whatever happened to me during the day, I processed through that affirmation. And gradually, I used my awareness, my consciousness, to change my neurological structure in my brain and to change my body. As I changed my mind, so my body started to heal. Changed my diet. I did the physical stuff that I needed to do. And one of the things that I did, by the way, was enroll myself on a meditation course, which I did it was a 3-month course, and I did it 3 times over 9 months. And I started a daily practice of meditation. Every single day now today, I do an hour of spiritual work before I start my day. I do half-hour guided meditation, and then at least another half-hour of yoga and more formal meditation, sitting meditation. And so that hour a day is non-negotiable. I do it every day, and that has shifted my consciousness into a more awakened state, and my body has reacted to the point now where I promise you I'm about 20 years younger than I used to be. I'm very flexible. I do yoga. There's no pain in my body. I have a great body, and I enjoy my body, and it's naturally fit. I do whatever I want to do. I want to walk up a mountain, I walk up a mountain. So that was my journey of becoming gradually more and more awake. But the one thing, the most important part of this ability to let go of fear and anxiety and worry is to start living your life firmly anchored in reality. And you might say, well, my dis-ease is real, or my dysfunctional relationship is real. And I say, no, 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 no. That is a story. The only thing that's really real, that's experientially real in this moment, is this moment. This is the only thing that's ever real. Now, dis-ease is normally a syndrome. It's normally a story. It normally has a certain beginning, a certain middle, and a certain ending. And that is not of interest in what I'm saying. If you would like peace, you have to learn to release your story. You have to make peace more important than the story in your head, because I absolutely know without any shadow of doubt that it's a story in their head that created the dis-ease in the beginning. Where is ease but right now in the present moment? And I'd like to end off today a little bit later with this session with a little bit of an exercise, practical exercise to take you into that state of ease. But in fact, it is really easy to be here now. It's very difficult to change your past, almost impossible. It's very difficult to predict accurately and manipulate your future in the way that you would like it to be. But it's extremely easy to be here right now if you are prepared to do one thing, and that is to release the hold that your mind has over your awareness, to release the hold of your thoughts dominating how you see this particular moment. Our thoughts are objects in time and space. They arise in time and space, and they leave in time and space. And as such, they're not eternal. But you are the space, the awareness, the consciousness into which the thoughts arise and the thoughts leave. You are that emptiness through which the thoughts pass. Now, we don't know that generally. We only know ourselves in terms of our thinking, in terms of our mind. And the thoughts, we think about 60,000 of them every day. I counted them one day, 60,000 thoughts. And these thoughts are actually like bricks in a matrix of reality. And we are so caught up in believing our thoughts about life that we're not aware of life itself. Now, life is the empty space of this moment. Life is the space between your thoughts. Life is this place of peace that's right now, in this moment, absolutely complete. Life is the stillness through which the noise of the thoughts pass. And part of this awakening process is start to focus on the space between your thoughts, on the emptiness, which is your true beingness, which is presence. As you start to do that, your thoughts cease to have the immense attraction for you, the immense hold over you. And as you separate your awareness from your thoughts, so this greater sense of ease arises within you. And so as we focus more on ease, and as we feed the consciousness of ease, so the dis-ease dissipates all by itself. In the same way that if you go into a darkened room and you switch on the light, you don't have to rush around the room sweeping out the darkness. The darkness cannot occupy the same space as the light. You are that light. You are the light of awareness, the light of consciousness, the light of presence. And as you invest your awareness more in the light of presence, so the dis-ease, which is the darkness, which is the ignorance, dissipates all by itself, no doing required. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take your medication or you shouldn't do the practical physical work. Do that. But what is more important is the work that you do in anchoring your awareness in reality. And reality is only ever this moment, right now. And there are a couple of ways that we can do this. One of the words that I use to point us in that direction is the word meditation. And what meditation means is no mind. You don't have to light incense and light a candle and ring bells and do all of that and say Om. If you don't want to, that's fine. Meditation is something we can do every moment of every day. If we're standing in Pick and Pay at the counter there, or we're standing in at the tax office, or driving our car, or wherever we are, you can come into that meditation. You just occupy the space between your thoughts. And there's certain practical exercises I can give you to do that. Now, I would suggest that everyone start the day with formal meditation. I think lighting a candle is a good idea. I do it every morning, and that helps anchor me in a particular place and a situation. And that fills my bank account with peace during the day. And then during the day, I find it easier to meditate when I'm driving, easier to meditate when I'm in conversation, easier to go into no mind when I'm standing in a queue, if I've done my formal meditation. But the formal meditation in the morning is just part of it. Realizing that in each and every moment there is stillness. In each and every moment there is ease. And if you start to anchor your awareness in that moment to moment to moment, slowly, 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 the worry, the anxiety, and the fear dissipates all on its own. And the other tool, which I have mentioned already, which I really would like to amplify a little bit in our awareness, is that tool I spoke about that I really started working with many years ago when I said the affirmation, life is great. So affirmations are very powerful tools at changing the neurology. As you change your neurology, so you change the chemicals in your brain. As you change the chemicals in your brain, you change your whole physiology. You change the endocrine system in your body. You open yourself up to ease and to healing. So affirmations should always contain 3 P's. The first P is they must be present tense. Don't make affirmations future-based or past-based. They must be present tense. The second one is I would suggest you always make them personal. It's not about changing something outside of yourself. They must also always relate to you and where you're at. And the third one is make them positive. Now, why do I say that? Because obviously they're positive. No, because many, many people are saying affirmations that are negative. They're saying, I am sick, I am ill, I am worried, I am anxious. Now, those are negative affirmations, and they work just as strongly as a positive affirmation. So your affirmation should be present tense, personal, and positive. And one of the affirmations that I would highly recommend, if you want, is that you can say, this is one, despite my current circumstances, I choose peace. Or I choose to be at peace despite my current circumstances. And that's one that you can use. And there are many, many more. And I would recommend the work of Louise Hay. She has many affirmations which you can find in her books, particularly You Can Heal Your Life, which you can start to work with. Find an affirmation that resonates with you. Now, an affirmation might not necessarily be true for you today. For example, if you have an affirmation, I am well, or I am healed, that might not be true in your physical circumstance today. But I absolutely guarantee you that if you say that over and over and over again, you stand a very good chance of changing you will change your neurology, but you also will change your biology at the same time. Just one word on healing, by the way. Healing is not a destination. It's not about living to 100. It's not about living to 200 or 500 years. That's not what healing is about. Healing is to make whole your awareness, to come back to wholeness, which is presence. So this is a journey that we're on. It's a journey of awakening. It's a journey of coming out of your past and out of your future back into reality, which is the present moment. Your past and your future are the matrix of the mind. They made a movie about this called The Matrix. That matrix is the world that we live in, that we think of as so real. I am my past and I'm going to my future. That is just a story in your head. The only time you can experience what you really, really, really want is in the present moment. The only time you can experience love or peace or joy is the present moment. This is more important than the matrix of your mind, the matrix of your thoughts. And so healing is to wake up to this. And I'd like to just give you a visual image of this. The story of your life can be seen on a horizontal plane, going from past to future. In a linear way, we go through day after day after day, going towards a future, which we hope one day will bring us everything we want. And that is one way of living your life. The other way is on a vertical plane. Can you imagine a line intersecting that horizontal line in the vertical plane? This is the depth of life. This is the present moment. Now, the present moment contains the world of beyond objects, the world of what I call space consciousness, the world of love, the world of ease, the world of peace, the world of joy. That lies in the depth of life, not in the horizontal plane, in the story of life. It does not lie in yesterday, does not lie in tomorrow. It lies in the depth of this moment. And as we start to make the present moment, the depth of life, more important than the story in our heads, so the awareness or the experience of peace becomes more and more predominant in our awareness. And as we become more peace, so we automatically become more whole and more healed. And affirmations are very powerful tools of shifting your awareness out from your story, because affirmations are present tense. They're anchoring a new reality in your awareness right now. And I would highly suggest that we start working with affirmations on the journey to healing. JANEY, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, that's wonderful, John. You know, I've heard you speak so many times, and every time I seem to hear it afresh, or hear another level. Yeah, very, very, very healing. I'm going to just ask everybody who's on the call if they have any questions. If you're okay with answering questions, John, just to pop their questions in the panel. I'm not sure if you can see them, but if not, I will read them out to you. And then, John, you mentioned that there was a little exercise that you wanted to share. So, if you would like to share that, then I'm sure that would be most well received by everyone.
Yes, sure. Well, it's just the little practical exercise of going into this no-thingness, this place of presence. So what I'd like to do is take us through a quick, very short meditation. And meditation is really about clearing our mind, isn't it? So one of the ways that I suggested earlier is lighting a candle and looking at the flame, because the flame is something that's alive, it's flickering, although it doesn't seem to go anywhere. It's not about achieving anything. So lighting a flame and focusing your awareness on that candle is a good idea. But in this moment, I'm going to use a few other things, and one powerful object that isn't an object that we can focus on any moment of the day, which is always with us, unlike maybe a lit candle, is the breath. So if I can ask the listeners just to close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath in, blowing your tummy right the way out like a big ball, and then releasing the breath with a long, long out breath. So let's try that again. Take a deep in breath, right down to your belly button, blowing the tummy up like a big ball. You might find putting your hand on your tummy is a useful indicator of this working, that you're blowing your tummy up as you breathe in. And then releasing it by bringing your belly button back to touch your spine. Just release all that no longer serves you. Just let it go. Let it go. Now breathe in again. Breathing, blowing your tummy up like a big ball. And this time, imagine the air being taken right down to your toes. So you're really drawing the air right into your body. And as you breathe out, make the out breath twice as long as the in breath. So a long, long, long out breath. Just releasing all that no longer serves you. Just let it all go. Let it all go. There's a slight pause. And then the in-breath comes in, filling your whole body again. And then a long out-breath. And as you breathe out, be aware of the work that this air has done within your body. It's done so much work, and now it's being released. So release it with a sense of gratitude. Feel grateful for the air, for the work it's done. And also, as you breathe in, you can breathe in, maybe visualize blue pastel, lovely fresh air coming into your body. And breathe it in with gratitude for the incredible work it's going to do inside your body at oxygenating and enabling every single cell in your body to be revitalized. So we're breathing in with gratitude and we're releasing the breath with gratitude. So we're working with this thing called breath, and we're working with gratitude, the feeling of gratitude within your awareness. And now I'd like you to just let go of the control of the breath, and I'd like breath just to work on its own. Allow life to just breathe you. This energy, this consciousness called life, that digests your food, that beats your heart, and is capable of breathing you 24 hours a day, whether you are conscious or not. Marvel at this intelligence called life that is able to breathe you so perfectly, so well. There are many things that we are worried about, that we concern ourselves about. But in fact, the most important thing of being alive is breath, breathing. And so one thing we don't have to worry about. We don't wake up in the morning saying, gee, will I remember to breathe all day? Or will there be enough oxygen for me to breathe today? It's just there for us. It is such an incredible gift, this breath. So as we allow life to breathe us, to gently breathe us in, to pause, and then to release the breath and the pause, let us do so with a sense of absolute awe at this incredible intelligence called life, that takes the oxygen from our lungs and distributes it through every single cell in the body, and then collects all the waste and expels it without any doing on our part. Feel this aliveness in your body. Feel this thing called life occupying your body right now in this moment. And from your heart, say a quiet prayer of gratitude for this energy, this consciousness, this love called life. And now take a deep breath in. Deep breath in, blowing the tongue up like a big ball. And a long out breath. Just let it all go. And gently open your eyes and just become aware of how you feel in this moment. Is there more ease within your awareness? Is there more peace within your awareness? And are you more present? So the journey to healing is the journey of releasing your attachment to your story, releasing attachment to your past and your future, and becoming more anchored in reality, which is the eternal presence, the formless essence of who and what you are. Thank you, Janie.
Thank you, John. Wow, that was beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Gosh, For those listening in, I will be sharing John's details and his website and so on in our list of resources, which you will be getting after the program. As I mentioned previously, John runs wonderful workshops, and as valuable as this call has been, I'm sure you're getting the idea that this is an experiential journey, and so embracing this experience in a 2-day workshop is infinitely valuable. And as I said earlier, I can personally attest to how it's transformed my life, and I'm very grateful for that, John, and I'm sure everyone on the call is grateful for your being here, so thank you. I don't have any questions right now, but
JANEY, that's a good thing.
Oh, is that a good thing?
Well, the questions always come from the mind, don't they? And right now, there's no mind. There's just peace and there's stillness. And that dissipates the need for more, the need for questioning.
Yes, indeed. Well said. Well, I'm going to finish off then and leave you all with saying that it has been an absolute joy and a privilege taking you through this journey of the art of self-healing. It's my hope that you will revisit this information, you will receive all the recordings, and that you will take the steps immediately to implement that which you've learned, because while all this knowledge is helpful, it is the applied knowledge that is truly powerful. And remember, it's baby steps. You don't have to get this all right immediately. I know we've covered a lot of information over the last 5 weeks. And in fact, we've said before, it's not about getting this perfect, but doing the best you can with where you are and gradually adding to your journey. And as you implement these steps that we've shared, and as your energy levels rise and as your vibrance grows, so too will the confidence in your capacity to harness that extraordinary inner doctor that you have been gifted with. Now, please note that if you do have a condition that is perhaps life-threatening, or you are on chronic medication, I still implore you to take on the advice and guidance of an experienced natural health practitioner who can support you on your path until you are beyond your immediate health challenges. And then, you can go on to negotiate the rest of your health journey with ease on your own. I salute each and every one of you for embarking on this journey and for staying with it to the end. It truly is my hope and belief that you will be rewarded with enriched health and enriched quality of life for a long time to come. And of course, like any journey, it doesn't end here. And so I invite you to continue to explore and learn in this wonderful adventure of health and learning to tap into all that you are capable of. I'm certainly not going away. I hope that you will keep in touch, and we will certainly continue to share lots of empowering information through my blog and through our site and other social media avenues. So please meet us there, and I look forward to connecting with you, perhaps in person sometime soon. So with that, we come to a close of this 5-week journey, and I thank you for the bottom of my heart for being a part of it. You have made it special, and again, I congratulate you on investing your time in this, and I truly hope that you will really begin to see your health and your life through new and different eyes. So with that said, I bring this to a close, and I send you all an enormous amount of love. Until we meet again, goodbye for now.